Welcome to the Rustic Garden Homestead. Today's video, all about compost.
All right, all about composting. Gary's got lots of compost here. So we're going to show you how to compost in a large space and then also how to compost on a balcony or a patio if you don't have a lot of room.
The biggest thing, and the thing that I tell people nowadays, is before you even dig your garden, pick out your garden, if you have the space, start a compost pile. Because it could take 2 years for compost, but hoping you stay alive, your garden stays well, you're going to have tons of compost. And that's really what organic gardening is about. Get started now, and then, 2 years from now, you're going to have tons of compost. It's going to help the garden, and it's what plants love.
And it's free. So you could just grab your garden scraps, your yard scraps, your kitchen scraps, and make free black gold for your garden, and it's really good for your plants too.
We're going to show you like a dozen ways almost to compost and get started. Composting isn't that complicated. You're going to hear a lot about hot composting and what you have to do every day. We're not going to worry about that. This is a basic bin, about 4 feet wide. This is leaves, pine needles, and it really creates leaf mold. If you have a lot of leaves, this was filled all the way up to the top last year, drops down, worms get in there, chew it up, leave behind worm castings. You can turn your leaves into excellent leaf mold. Very simple. This is nothing fancy here, just 4-foot fencing wire circled around to about 4 feet. If you want to get a little bit more fancy, and I prefer this method, 4 T-posts, 4 to 5 feet apart, and then it's the same fencing wire, goes all the way around. This compost is a mix of leaves, grass cuttings, scraps from the garden. This is all cold composting, and this is going to take probably 2 years to really break down. But like we were saying in the beginning, just get started. For some reason, we start gardening, but we don't get to the compost. And I think mentally we think it's going to be years before it's ready. Well, time flies. Get something started like this, and whoa, I almost fell into the compost bin. Get started now. 2 years from now, you're going to have tons of compost.
I hope you're enjoying the video so far. Please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure your bell notifications are set to all so you don't miss any videos. Now, if you want to just compost in a small space, it can actually break down within a couple of months. Now, I've done a lot of hot composting videos, which you can get finished compost in a matter of about 6 weeks if you do that method. But don't get too overwhelmed. Don't feel too intimidated. If you have a balcony or patio, you can compost in a container. Now, a lot of you know I compost in the Smart Pots compost sack, in the Smart Pot container if you have that, or just the garden nursery things that you would get at the nursery when you buy plants. But here we have our finished compost. So I like to go with a smaller kind of 2-bin system. Once my compost is finished, I put it in here and then can just put it around the plants to use in the garden. But until that point, just get started in a small container. Got some leaves thrown in here. Collect leaves from around your yard, and you want to stick to maybe around a 3-to-1 ratio. That's 3 parts brown and 1 part green. But don't get too stressed out if you don't have that much. And then just throw in these are some scraps from the garden and the kitchen. Just throw it in here and build your compost pile little by little. Now I throw in a little handful there of compost, Gary, just to kind of get things started.
Now leaves are
Activate
considered,
it.
and the leaves are considered browns. They're more carbon. And then the greens, like you said, they're green, but they have a lot of nitrogen. So the combination of nitrogen and browns gets the microbes reacting and gets compost. And like you're saying, you could do this, in 6 weeks, but it does take work. I don't like work. Yeah. So I just kind of let it sit. But you're always going to end up with compost. Just make sure you keep it in a place. It can be full sun. It can be shady. You just want to make sure moisture gets to it because the microbes won't do their thing unless they're moist. You can take this to a bigger scale. Over here are some trash cans where I make leaf mold.
One more thing I want to say here, Gary, is if you're on a balcony or patio in an urban setting, you might have a problem with fruit flies. So a lot of times what I do is I'll grab an extra handful of leaves, just kind of throw it over the top, and kind of mix it in, and that way it keeps the fruit flies down. You can even throw a plastic cover over it to keep it moister and to keep the critters out. Always a problem for me too is the critters.
I cut you off. I'm sorry. Should we go to the trash cans?
Yes, go to the trash cans.
So you can do it on a bigger scale, basic trash cans. And the most important thing, I don't know if we're going to be able to see it, but there are holes in here. You got to make sure you have drainage.
That's right.
They might be on the side. I don't know. They could be rusted over. But trust me, there's holes in there. And you want the holes big enough that worms can climb into here and the moisture can drain out. If you use a container, it fills up with water, you're going to get, I think, an anaerobic bacteria. It's going to smell bad and it's not good for your health. It can be really dangerous. So make sure it drains. But what I do this fall, this will be filled up with leaves. I let it sit for a year. A couple months ago, I just took what was left in here and dumped it into this trash can. And this is just beautiful leaf mold.
Oh,
this is ready to go into the garden. And you just use the 2-can system like you were saying, Kim, bigger scale. And this is what organic gardening is about. This is what you're still need. It really doesn't.
Earthy.
Yeah, it doesn't have a bad odor. People think it's going to smell bad, but it just smells like you're walking in a forest. But this is a real easy way to get started.
Super simple. Now I get a lot of questions too on how moist or dry should my compost be?
70%.
Just
I don't know.
70%. What's
Yeah,
that?
I don't know.
But I mean, kind of the gauge I go by is if you squeeze it and a big huge stream of water comes out, it's a little bit too wet. Just mix in some more dry leaves. You want a few drops of water to come out, so like a moist or a damp sponge is a good moistness for your compost that's in process.
And I think the most important thing is because these just sit here outside, you know, so I don't really do much. If you're doing the smaller scale by your house, you can control the moisture more. Or maybe you want a lid on it because you don't want the fruit flies around.
Yeah.
So you do have to be checking for moisture. But this gets rained on. Well, it used to before the drought started coming to Maryland. But this gets soaked. As long as you have drainage, it's going to work itself out.
Right.
You just don't want to have it so wet beyond that saturation point you were saying, and then stick a lid on it because it's just going to smell bad. So
now your big piles here, you probably don't even turn.
No,
They're
I don't
so
even
big.
turn these.
But the little piles, you know, again, don't stress about it. Just come out and turn it, you know, every few weeks or once a month. The more you turn it and pay attention to the moisture level, the quicker it will break down. But if not, just throw it in, let it rot, and eventually you're going to have compost.
I think a lot of people feel like you have to have compost in as little as 4 weeks, or 6 weeks, or 8 weeks, or 12 weeks. Just get started. Worry about your compost skills as your garden skills build. But if you're just throwing it into a pen, you're going to be rewarded in a year or two.
That's right. And you're turning trash into treasure. So less goes into the landfill and more goes back into your garden, which is a really good feeling.
Here's a couple more compost areas behind me.
Check out my seed shop at CallieKimGardenandHome.com. Right now, Labor Day sale, 50% off all seed collections with the code TOMATO. Gary, what's the deal here? You're growing beans out of your compost pile?
So the beauty of compost, I'm not watering here, I'm not doing anything. When I'm composting and I throw in some old seeds and stuff like that, they actually grow out of here. This is beautiful cowpeas and green beans and even a tomato plant over there in the right corner are growing out of the compost pile. Even with the drought, it stays moist. All the nutrients that you need are in here. So this is just a beautiful example of what compost can do. This pen was started 5 years ago. This is my 5th year gardening here. This is a kennel crate, wire crate for like dogs to keep them in a space.
Great. Got
it from probably Amazon, like $24. It wasn't that expensive.
Nice.
Stuff down on the bottom now is about 3 years old. And I just opened this up. I don't know if I'm going to be able to open it. Let's see if we have a camera fail.
Oh, wow.
There we go.
I love how you're repurposing your materials here too.
Yeah, so all the stuff down here is not quite composted down. As you get down to bottom shoe level, right down here, I just dig it out, put it in the garden. If it's not fully broken down, I use this as a mulch come fall, put it right in the garden beds, continues to break down. But this is the cold compost process. Everything gets thrown into here, and it's just beautiful, beautiful stuff.
That's beautiful. And that's a good way to tell if compost is ready is if you don't see a lot of recognizable kitchen scraps, but still you can use it if it's not completely broken down. So the trash can we just showed you looked like soil. That's basically how your compost should look, not should look, but will look once it's broken down. And then it's great to use on your containers or your garden beds.
The other trick is cut grass. If you have ever had grass, you stick it in a bag, you forget about it, it smells really bad. It's because it's heating up to 100, 120 degrees. You can now, and if you look at this is all coarse stuff, you know, and in theory, yeah, you should shred it up, but who has time for that? If you take your cut grass and just throw the grass on top of here, it's going to do a mini hot composting, and it's going to help break down these pieces. And then the grass will dry, the odor will go away, you got your nice next layer, and you just kind of rinse and repeat. So it doesn't have to be perfect mixing, perfect cutting. Just get your compost started.
Right.
So fancier stuff over here. When I was doing hot composting, just basically set these stations up.
Nice.
And this was really probably, I don't know, I'm going to give you hand signs, Jerry, as soon as you're done, of what I was putting in here. But it was a combination of leaves, which are the browns, the carbons, and the grass. And this was all filled all the way up to the top towards the end of last year.
Wow.
But I'm just taking about this much of the leaves come fall, throwing it down, and then almost the same amount of grass. And it does smell a little bit. It's not that 3-to-1 ratio you were talking about. That's more the perfect ratio. And just layered in there. It heats up, breaks down faster, short-term hot composting. And then when it's done here, I move it over to this pile. Maybe throw in some more grass into the second bin. So I'm just kind of moving it from the first bin to the second bin. Don't worry about that. That was just kicked in there the other day. If it looks like it needs more, I'll throw in a little bit more grass. Within a year, 2 years, it all turns into this stuff right here.
That's beautiful.
Actually come down here. This is just a combination of compost of leaves and grass and weeds. And this is all you need. Like really over the years, people think that organic gardening is all about organic products. And it is to a degree. But water-soluble organic fertilizer, organic granular fertilizer, yes, it's organic, feeds the soil life, but it's never going to create this in your soil. You absolutely have to put in organic matter. And you can spend a lot of money trying to buy this, and it's not good quality often. Make it yourself. You're going to save a fortune, and your garden's going to thrive.
And it just feels good knowing, again, that you're turning trash into treasure, and your garden is going to benefit from it. And so will you.
And it has, again, no odor
really nice
whatsoever.
Smell, yeah. It just smells like soil.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
The worms love it.
All right, let's pause and think about a conclusion. Compost tumblers. That's another way to go in a small space. I have 2 set up. Compost looks wonderful. This has actually been in there for almost 3 years.
Looks good.
So it's ready to go into the garden. This is actually made from wood pellets, which are right down at your feet, Jerry. Just wood pellets that go into a stove and alfalfa pellets. Wood pellets, the carbon, alfalfa, the greens
So
or
if
the
you don't
nitrogen.
have any leaves or food scraps, you could make it out of those 2 things, which are inexpensive to grab at the garden center.
And this is great stuff. Now, if we go to the other tumbler, I've been doing that process in there too.
This is pretty neat because it's all contained, so if you have a critter problem, the tumbler works really well. Then you just give it a turn to mix it, so you don't have to turn it, with your pitchfork or your shovel. And then open it up. Wow, this is great looking compost too in here, Gary. Really nice. Look at that. Black gold for the garden.
And you can't beat it. Again,
No, you really can't.
This is what organic gardening is all about. But this is going to hold moisture. Great substitute if you don't want to use peat moss or cocoa coir that can impact the environment. You can make it out of really the wood scraps, the wood pellets.
And if your soil is heavy clay, which mine is in my garden, this is great to mix in. You can mix in a few inches at the beginning of the season, put some more at the handful of your plants throughout the season. And then with fall gardening, which you're going to be talking about real soon, you can amend your garden beds after you pull out your warm weather vegetables and put another few inches on top. So you really can't use too much.
And I always like having 2. This way, this one can be finished up. You kind of let it go from fall onward, use it in the spring, and then your new stuff is going into the other tumbler. But tumblers are a great option too.
Definitely. Gary, you've got so much compost here. I love it. I can't believe you've made this much.
If you have the room, it really pays dividends going forward. So these are made out of pallets. And this was kind of one of my first builds. There's actually a little bit of an error here. You need moisture. So I had this all covered with wood. I opened it up so the rain would fall into there. The one over here to your right, Jerry, too, has a metal roof on it. Because the rain comes in the side, it does its thing. So it's not like you have to worry that much about it, but you definitely need the moisture in there. This bin is from last year, maybe a year and a half old. That's breaking down. When you come over to the compost over here, this is about 2.5 years old. Each year I just fill it up, and then this one is closer to 3 years old. This is what I've been using to fill the garden. So I have 3 stations. I'm not moving it around, but moisture is really, really important.
Definitely. I mean, here on the East Coast, or if you live in an area where you get a lot of rain, you really don't have to worry about watering it down. But in Southern California, where we are, the wintertime we get some rain, but in the summertime, pretty much for 6 months, no moisture whatsoever. So because I keep my bins covered, I take off the cover, and then every couple of weeks, I take my hose, water it down, give it a turn, and that just helps it break down faster. But if it completely dries out, the microbes are not going to be active enough to break the compost down. So
Yeah.
do try and keep an eye on that.
It's going to take a lot longer.
Yeah.
And then in this design, if you want to show them,
Oh yeah.
come fall, I'm going to have, because where I live, it's just going to have tons of leaves. I drop in these boards to raise the front, sort of the gate, and it keeps the leaves from blowing out. And as I need more leaves, or as I add more leaves, I drop in another board.
It's pretty
And
handy.
it's just a nice way to build this.
And this is really inexpensive. Wood
Yeah.
you can pick up, or you picked up pallets. So just look around, see what you have that you can repurpose. And even if you're using just a smaller container bin system, just repurpose what you already have, or check at garden centers, because oftentimes they give away those nursery pots for free. They've got so many of them.
Whatever space you have, you can do something with composting. I think we should go back to the original pens and then say goodbye.
Sounds good. 3, 2, 1, action. The most important thing we want to emphasize, let's try again. 3, 2, 1, action. The most important thing we want to emphasize today is just get started. Whether you have a small space, a large space, a patio, a balcony, or a big yard like you have, Gary, just get going. Whether it's with a pen, this is a great
Basic fencing wire, yeah.
Very basic. You can get it at any garden center.
Really inexpensive. The circle, about 4 feet wide, will get you started. And for whatever reason, I don't know what it is, people love compost, they want to compost, but it's the last thing we do, and sometimes it takes years to get started.
So just get started. You'll have free black gold prairie garden. Thanks for watching. See you next time in the garden.
Take care.